We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask for a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody here, everybody watching or will be watching. Also, if you put your phone on silence or vibrate, I appreciate it. Next item is roll call. Today I'm going to start with Commissioner Cause.
Here.
I'm voting not here. Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Stephen?
Here.
Mr. Culberson?
Here.
All right. I don't think we have anybody for the public comment in the beginning. I know we have a few towards the end of the session. Mark, do you have anything on administrative business? No. County Commissioner, do y'all have anything to bring up?
I do have one thing.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
I visited with the CEO of the Peruvian Connection. They're out on Highway 16 between Tonganoxie and McLeod. And they have written a letter to, they were involved in the closing when it closes due to the work there at Helen's Hilltop. And they have addressed a letter to the KDOT about the concerns they have. They have a lot of employees that are coming in from Kansas City and what the reroute direction will be. And they have requested that George Road be given some funding for either dust control or maybe hard surfacing. And when I was at the meeting there, they didn't take that off the table as far as Kelly, Ms. Catola and Mr. Barrett. So if and I visited with the staff about it, and they said if we could write a letter of support, sort of supporting the request for funding for that, and they would be willing to draft that, but we need direction from the commission to do so.
George wrote that they would just pay for chemical treatment for dust control.
Well, whatever they would be the request is that they help us on the.
Be a pretty tough one to pay going up through them hills and curves.
But you're going to route a lot of people through there.
Well, hopefully we were going to close that road, but I agree.
Through traffic.
We had talked about. I mean, I brought it up about any unofficial detour when there's a closure on any project that we might want to consider, dust controlling in front of everybody's house. 300-foot stretch or something like they do, but. I agree. That's going to be a tough one to close down, the state highway. And the detours, I know everybody's going to use George Road.
So this, I don't know all the specifics of the language for that letter, but I know I visited with Mr. Lawfrey and Mr. Knoll, and they said they could draft the letter, but they wanted to have direction.
Did we already request that the road be closed?
I think
we talked about that, and that was going to be part of the project.
Closed to through traffic.
Right.
Can I say something? I think that I just ended up having to have a discussion with a homeowner because of the bridge closing that we had, and I pretty much had to tell her I was so sorry, but sorry.
People are going to use whatever road they want to use, I guess.
And this is an individual who actually pays for dust control, and it just wasn't enough to cover the dust and the traffic that had been generated for the bridge closure. So I don't know.
I'd like to at least do dust control, even if we have to do it.
Then
this letter will be requesting funding from KDOT to assist with that.
Well, I lots of letters for funding from KDOT.
I don't see any problem at least requesting.
No, I don't either, but if it doesn't get approved, I think we need to look at some of these unofficial detours that that people are going to use this, because the road would be right there at the beginning of a project or something.
So
Yeah, I don't know what the cost with that would be. I can figure it up pretty quick. What do we got? 300 feet. Do a 300-foot patch in front of everybody's house. We'd have to know how many houses. You got 5,280 feet in a mile. So
my,
Mark, you got
my
anything?
understanding is that KDOT has agreed to pay for the barriers. So that's a good thing there at George Road. Or I don't know if that's verbal or if they put that in writing yet, but this letter of support, hopefully, if there's some funding, they did not take funding off the table, so this would just be following it up with a request.
Okay, Mark?
Well, two things. Obviously, if KDOT has money and they're willing to contribute to that project or do that for us, so be it. I would want to make sure that it wouldn't pull from any other projects that we may be requesting funding for that are permanent solutions for us, like the County Route 30. And on our side, when we're talking about county projects, all of those things have a cost, and as Commissioner Koss has said, our response has been in the past that that's not part of our project. We don't go out and do that because, again, where do you stop? How many roads are impacted? What increased traffic count does it then qualify for it? And as we've also discussed, budget's not necessarily flush with cash. It's a tight budget. So I don't know that I would want to start a precedence that we're going to automatically do this for any time we do a road project.
But you don't see any issue with sending a letter out?
As far as sending a letter to KDOT and asking them to consider some kind of dust control, obviously, that's if they have.
Jeff, you have anything on this?
Yeah. So when Millwood Bridge was closed, I asked if we could do some dust control on the gravel road that everybody used, and I was told we don't have the funds for that, which I get. And if you start that, then you're going to have to do it for every road. So as long as it's just a letter of support asking KDOT to fund it, then I don't have a problem with that
Someone
at all.
else's money.
And that's all it is at
But
this
if it's
point.
not county budget, then I have a big problem with it.
Right.
And this they did not, at the meeting at Helen Siltop, they did not take assisting with some hard surfacing off the table either. So I think we make the request. If all they can do is say no,
But that's road. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. People are going to use it.
Well,
It's not a good road to travel.
How long of a stretch are they closing on 16?
Well,
It's just one spot, right?
Right, but it's K90. Well, the
And
parallel.
George is past.
Yeah, that's the intersection.
and we don't want through people taking George Road. But the reroute that KDOT has assigned is a very, very
Long detour.
long detour. So,
Like
but
the Millwood Bridge detour was about 12 miles.
it's a long detour. But if we could get the letter of support and just see where it goes from there.
Okay, everybody okay with the letter of support for now? Okay, Mark? Okay.
Okay, I have just one
Yeah,
thing,
Vicki.
just an announcement, because I think it's just awesome, is we have a young woman from Leavenworth who moved through on the show The Voice,
yeah.
Deja Renault, Leavenworth High School. She's a senior, and I think it's just really awesome that she made it through. And so I just would like to recognize her because she has a phenomenal voice. If you've
Yes.
never had the opportunity to hear her sing, you
They
can
were
go to the
fighting over it. The
424
judges
Lounge.
were fighting over it.
But she really has an amazing voice, and I just would like to make sure that we kind of keep track of her because I think that she's gonna do something. She is going to make it. So
Good.
She does have a voice. You're
she
absolutely
does.
right.
I mean,
If you want to hear her sing local, she sings at that
424
Yeah,
Lounge
yeah.
on
That's why-
Thursdays.
that's why I
Her
said
uncle
that.
and aunt have the 424 Lounge. That's James and Georgette Diggs, and they have that lounge. And so she sings there on Thursday nights. But she has an incredible voice.
Yeah.
So
Well, thanks for bringing that up, Vicki.
Yep.
I've been following her on that. Any other commissioner with anything? If not, we'll go to consent agenda. Is any item on consent agenda needs to be pulled?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
second,
Motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Collins?
aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stevens?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we'll go to formal board action. Consider a motion to appoint a Sherman Township trustee.
We don't have Janet here.
Well, Commissioner.
And that was the only.
There
person
was only
that-
one applicant. There's a vacancy due to a resignation on the Sherman Township Trustee Board. We only had one application, and so it's required that the Board of County Commissioners vote on that and approve it, or give direction to solicit for a longer period of time for more applications. But I don't think
My
this person
understanding
is
is
qualified.
she's a good, but I don't happen to have her name in front of me.
You don't?
Well, unless I'm not finding it.
You mean Angela?
Probably a necessary part of it.
Yes.
It's in your packet.
Angela Christopher?
Angela
Christopher?
Christopher. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Angela Christopher as
Well, there was
a
Christy Bryce.
Sherman Township trustee.
That's the right name?
There was Christy Bryce.
I got the right one.
No,
for a
no,
second.
Christy
That
Bryce
may
is
be-
the former.
Oh, okay, the
Yeah.
former. Okay.
It's Angela.
Yeah,
That's right.
okay. I got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Okay, welcome. Okay, next item is consider a motion to accept the amendments of Leavenworth County Design Standards as presented. Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today, for your consideration, we do have a text amendment to the Leavenworth County Roadway Design Standards. As discussed previously at the work session, our current road standards do allow for an 8-inch AB3 base with a triple chip and seal application thereafter. The last of that chip and seal applications is paid for by the developer and placed on the roadway by the county. We've had only a couple of these applications over the course of the last few years, and the cost of maintenance of these has proved to be higher in many cases, with the cost of construction being very similar to the other type of roadway being accepted as a rural street. The secondary rural street is a 6-inch asphalt roadway with 4 inches of AB3, and that would be the only standard that would be allowed under this text amendment. The secondary standard for a rural street would just cease to exist. And so if you have any questions or want to have any conversation, I'd be open to that.
Most of these new developments are choosing to use asphalt anyways, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. We've actually had one application that designed the roadway in both manners and bid it, and after receiving the cost of those, determined that it was more as effective to go with asphalt with a better product, and it has also shown that it has a lower cost of maintenance from a county perspective.
Any commissioners, anything? Have anything else?
No, I just remember when we went from asphalt and then we started allowing chip seal, because that's what the county roads were, chip seal. So, but I think with some discussion earlier, the dust abatement was probably going to switch over to asphalt also. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the amendments to the Leavenworth County Design Standards as presented.
I'll second it. Any more discussion on it? Okay. Mr. Connors?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, presentation and discussions. Council on Aging, quarterly report. Come on down. Good morning.
Morning, Connie.
Commissioners, it's my pleasure to present a Q3 report for the Council on Aging. Another busy quarter for us. We're at about 72,000 Meals on Wheels that have been served during this time. 362 new clients this year, so we're transitioning about 100 every quarter that are moving on to nursing homes or have passed away or moving with family, things like that. And as soon as we have an opening, we're filling it with someone new for Meals on Wheels. So we did change the price of our meals. Those went up to $6.50 that we pay our caterer on October 1st. But again, that because of the ruling that you had, that was not an increased price to any constituents on Meals on Wheels. We've provided almost 7,000 trips for transportation, serving about 481 folks in the community with that. We added 5 new vehicles to our fleet, and are loving those new vehicles and the fuel efficiency that comes with those. And tracking right on track for budget for this year, and have brought in about 92% of our expected revenue so far this year. As far as increasing engagement, which was a goal for us, we hope to increase that by 20% this year. We have blown that out of the water. I think we had that maybe in March. So we've seen 525 new people through the doors of the Council on Aging this year that we've never seen before. And that is a testament to my staff and the engaging activities and things, but have formed some really great partnerships. I think one of the ones we're most proud of is our partnership with St. Mary's, University of St. Mary's. We had almost 60 students in our building a couple weeks ago doing balance assessments, strengths assessments, things like that to help people with falls risks. So that was great. We have brought in about almost $80,000 in grants this year. Our goal was $82,000. We're still waiting on one grant to come through. And we also had a goal holistically to bring in an extra $100,000 with fundraising to supplement what we didn't bring in with grants. Our goal for fundraising alone was $30,000. We're at $33,000 and have one more event to host on the 10th of October. So we are going to host a dueling pianos dinner and auction at the Eagles on that night, and have a couple of sports memorabilia items that we're raffling that we're super excited about that have generated a lot of interest. A Lynn Dawson autographed jersey, as well as a Bobby Witt Jr. Baseball. We're still tracking adding new volunteers, things like that, doing all the things that are listed there for cost savings, trying to do more with less. Shifting to digital is our Q4 goal, as well as moving to our Cushing space. So we are super excited. We've started packing the walls at every available space that can hold a box, has a box, and are looking forward to getting into that new space, ordering new business cards, things like that. We hope to offer all of our activities through the end of October in our current site. We might take a small hiatus depending on when it is that we're actually moving from activities only. It won't disrupt Meals on Wheels, and it won't disrupt transportation during that time, likely in the beginning of November, until we get settled and get to know our new space.
Wow. Good. All I can say is wow. And keep Mark selling your tickets for you for raising those fundraisers. He does a heck of a job the way he approaches people, so stay on him about that. Very pleased what I'm seeing here. I just don't, it's like being turbocharged, you guys out there for Council on Aging. And I'm glad we're getting ready to get you into your new home.
Yeah, we can.
Commissioners?
Do we have a date on the move?
No, I don't have a date.
Aaron hasn't given you one?
No, and we know what happened when I said October 1st. So I'm meeting with Aaron tomorrow. We're going to walk through the building together. I was over there the other day, and just a few things, cosmetic things.
Okay, so it's before the end of the year.
Yeah, yes, I hope before the end of October.
We don't want to be moving in the snow.
We don't want to move in the snow.
Commissioners, anything else? Very good.
Thanks,
you.
Connie.
Thanks for the update.
October 15th at the Eagles at 5.
There's a social hour at 4, but the event will start at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a fun night.
All right.
Thank you, Con. All righty, we've got some, that's all for the formal. We've got some additional public comments. I think we have 4 or 5. When I call you up here, just a reminder, if you come introduce yourself, podium, you have 5 minutes. And I'm going to start with Nancy Carpenter. You get to go first. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Carpenter, 14681 Crider Road in Bonner Springs, which is in Leavenworth County. Thank you for allowing me the time to share a few thoughts with you this morning. First and foremost, I want you to be aware that many citizens of Leavenworth County are still very concerned about Kaw Valley's interest in creating a sand pit in the southern end of the county. We have carefully followed the legal proceedings between Kaw Valley and the county as they have stretched over the past 2 years. Secondly, I trust that you have all received and read the letter from my attorney, James R. Orr. After a careful review of the appellate court judgment dated October 26, 2022, Mr. Orr has summarized the steps dictated by the court that the BOCC should take before there is any consideration of an SUP for Kaw Valley. I will leave copies of the letter in case it has not been delivered to you. Finally, we ask that you, our commissioners, keep the lines of communication open to your constituents. We hope that you will listen to our concerns. We expect to be given ample notification of any meetings where Kaw Valley's dealings with the county will be discussed. We trust you will bring fresh eyes to the table as you read and hear about the issues surrounding any sandpit proposal, as much has changed since July of 2020. I ask that my comments be included in the minutes and in the record concerning the Lenape Sand Quarry. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mike McDonald. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, sir. I am Michael McDonald, 14439 Wood End Road, Bonner Springs, which is inside Leavenworth County. Among other things, the County Commission is involved in protecting the health and welfare of county residents through the many requirements of planning, zoning, building and development regulations. I have been impressed with the recent efforts to consolidate several county services into the refurbished and remodeled Cushing Hospital building. These services are now in an accessible central place to support residents. A key service being provided at this location is having mental health assistance available. This not only assists residents that need these services, it also reduces demands on and the time involvement of law enforcement agencies by having properly equipped facilities available for people in their custody who may need assistance as well. The county is to be commended for moving this important matter forward in this very substantial manner. Overall, public health includes physical health. There are at least 2 issues that are having an adverse impact on the general health of county residents, and these will come to the attention of the County Commission. One is the landfill fire outside of Easton. This situation creates air pollution, water pollution, and further adversely impacts the quality of life of residents in a large portion of the northern part of the county. None of these are good for the physical and mental health of Leavenworth County residents. Everyone expects that the Board of County Commissioners will act to protect the health and safety of county residents in this matter. The second issue will soon be brought to the Board of County Commissioners. This is a review of the SUP for the proposed sand mine pit proposed by Kaw Valley Materials at 166th Street and Lenape Road. Evidence submitted to the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners showed substantial and significant impacts to public health in general, and specifically to county residents, motorists, and other municipal governments through the noise, air quality from silica dust, water quality, truck traffic on narrow roads, roadway deterioration, and much more can be expected. It is assumed that the County Commission will consider the impacts on the health of residents when this matter comes before them for consideration. Please accept a copy of these remarks so that they may be entered into the records of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Is Ben Morgan? Morning, sir.
Ben Morgan, 12548, 158th Street in Linwood, Kansas. It's been a while since I've been up here to a meeting, and I haven't spoke with you guys, but if I had $1 for every time somebody's been asking me about what's going on with the sand pit, I probably wouldn't even come up here today. Truth is, there's more folks than you probably realize that they're getting frustrated that this keeps resurfacing, and they're trying to understand how this doesn't impact them. The constituents deserve some clarity on the resolution. There need to be some real numbers associated with the costs to date and any costs in the future for potential agreement. The public's been told there will be no impact to the taxpayers. As a taxpayer of Leavenworth County, I'd like to see transparency on the following. Who's been funding the lawyers and the local judicial system for the legal battles and the appeal process, if not the Leavenworth County taxpayers? Who's paid county staff wages for the hours of meetings with Call Valley prior to the lawsuit, if not the Leavenworth County taxpayers? Who has been funding the engineers and consultants that have been heavily involved in the review of the existing roads, if not the Leavenworth County taxpayers? Who will be funding the extensive study, design, and review of potential road replacements strictly for the proposed haul route, if not the Leavenworth County taxpayers? If a road replacement was agreed on, there would be a significant requirement for county services for each and every phase of the construction. Who would be expected to pay for all of this, if not the Leavenworth County taxpayers? Lastly, how can a resident of Leavenworth County see the sand pit campaign being entertained for nearly 3 years now and expect to believe that taxpayers' dollars have not been utilized? I feel these are legitimate questions, and they deserve your thoughts and considerations. In today's economy, it's no time to be taking the dollars out of taxpayers' pockets to fund a private enterprise. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Amy Springer, did I have that? You don't have anything? Lynn? Okay. Well, I had you here just in case, all right? I think that's all the comments we have. I appreciate the folks taking the time to come up here and present them to the governing body. Mark, do you have anything else?
Chairman,
Mike?
Question. And this is related to a couple of comments they've said. Last I knew, do we have official confirmation now from the Kansas Court of Appeals or the Kansas Supreme Court that no appeal has been issued?
I have a statement by counsel for Call Valley Incorporated that they did not file an appeal. It strongly indicates they did not file an appeal. I have not yet received a copy of the mandate. The time for the filing of any petition for review to the Kansas Supreme Court expires on September 26th. I'm not aware of any filing.
So the mandate, though, is when it comes to official, that's the official.
I believe that the ruling of the Court of Appeals is now in effect.
Okay. Second question was, as far as, have you reviewed this letter that was sent to you?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't looked at it yet, but does it impact in any way? Does it disagree with your interpretation is of what our? I guess we'll talk about it when we talk about it.
I think we need to.
Do we have a date when we're going to talk about it?
Commissioners, I would suggest to be discussed in executive session, even though the Court of Appeals has concluded its phase of the matter. There are legal issues involved that I think are best served to be discussed in executive session. You could schedule that for next Wednesday, but your county administrator will not be here. So I would suggest the following week at the earliest.
That's fine with me.
Is that like the 19th?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody okay with that?
No, I'm good.
One's case.
Yeah, we're not going to be here the 19th.
Yeah.
We will be at the
Oh, the
KCA.
fall conference.
Yeah, we will be at the fall conference.
So what's the next? 26th.
Yeah, we need everybody here on this. Okay, 26th?
26th.
Okay. All righty.
On the road.
Yeah, I know, but we have much of a choice to do. Okay, we're going to the Commissioner's Report. Start with Vicki.
All I have to report is I went and attended the KCATA board meeting last Wednesday afternoon.
Only one this time?
No, just one meeting this time, and it was finished by 4 4:30.
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
I just have one thing. Just a reminder that the intersection down by Quick Trip and that area, yeah, it's going to be closing for an entire week, starting next week most likely, I believe. So please use alternate routes because it's going to be a mess. But it'll be great when they finish because there's a lot more turn lanes. That's all I have, Doug.
I just had the City of Bayshore meeting last Wednesday, and that's it.
Mike?
We had a property tax task force for the 5th district meeting, and we had about 25 people there. Commissioner Culberson was there, and I gleaned a couple things from that. Is there's some easy things we can do, but as you get deeper into the issue, it gets more complicated. And but I think it's something that we really need to focus on down the road. I was able to speak to Boy Scout Troop number 357. Dave Ayers is their scoutmaster, and they're in Tonganoxie, and we talked about county government and had a good time interacting with the boys, the young men. Visited with the economic development director. I'm going to have a meeting with her there at DeSoto. And then today, Alberta Leach and Miss Larkin rally out front about supporting them in their cold case review.
Thank you, Mike. Jeff?
Nothing really. Went to the what are you calling that group? The tax.
Well, I'm calling it the 5th District Task Force, but down the road we want to do the county's version. So.
Okay. And Jeff Pittman was there too. So
yeah,
that was good.
It was a great meeting. There's a lot of issues.
Yeah. No sheriff's deputies had to show up.
I'm not sure.
You did City last night?
City of Leavenworth last night. Sounds like the City of Leavenworth's going to carts for trash. So you have an option to use the carts. Not everybody has to have the carts, but I think it's moreover to help the trash men because there'll be a machine to pick the cart up and dump it in the truck for them. So.
Is the city still going to be doing the?
They'll still do bags.
They're not contracting anybody. They're still going to be doing the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're just going to carts instead of bags.
Well, not instead of. You can do either or.
Okay,
but they're not going to provide the bags.
Yeah, that's what we're doing last.
Yeah,
okay.
So you can, and not everything has to fit in the cart. That was a big thing for me. Some other cities, if it doesn't fit in the cart, you can't leave it on the curb.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. You can use the cart and additional stuff beside the cart. They'll still pick it up.
Yeah, Lansing went to the bags also because we found a lot of folks that doing that. It's worked out quite well.
The cart
and the bags.
Okay.
So you don't have a limited thing.
And they do both. You don't have to fit everything in the cart. Okay.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm sure that's why the city continues to offer the service instead of contracting it out. That way they can control it a lot better.
Yeah, I think
they do a great job.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Mr. Cos.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Stevens.
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
Okay, next thing we've got is a work session. Unless one needs a break. I saw on the thing is work session to discuss the formation of property task force. I'm just going to throw this out there. I'd like to see this wait until after the elections because some of these elected officials may not be ones we're working with. Now that's just my 2 cents.
I agree. And we're not talking that far down the road.
It's only 4 weeks.
Only a month.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with that?
And all the people running for office are pretty busy right now.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Okay. Mike, you okay with that? I know it's your idea. Okay, the next item was work session to discuss the formation of a policy committee for historical marker placement. 2 cents again. You guys go the other way. This is something we talked about earlier about where we're going to be placing markers, which we didn't have a program for. But we said we'd hire we'd put together a committee. And these are just some of the names I thought because I know Vicki and Mike had volunteered to do it. I was thinking about Aaron from here. I was thinking about Todd from the Justice Center, and I was thinking about somebody from Council on Aging. Now, that's just mine. You take them, leave them, throw them. It's just a kickoff point for y'all to think about.
No, I think Aaron needs to be on there. And I think the county attorney is a good choice.
He's also on the.
That's for that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think Todd needs to be there. You said Commissioner Stevens
And Mike,
Commissioner Cos.
Yeah, they volunteered last time.
All right. And you just need another.
Council on Aging or somebody else, whatever y'all would think.
Who do you got at Council on Aging?
I'm just going to find somebody for
Have Connie come up with somebody. Well, yeah. Okay, that sounds, I'm okay with that.
I might throw this out there, and it's no disrespect to Todd, but he's on the group that's kind of pushing this. Maybe somebody from his office, if you know.
I think that he would be
I
the
think
best
he'd be fine.
person
I
to
think he'd
do
be
it.
okay,
Yeah.
Mike.
Well,
I understand what you're saying.
You know,
But I
since
think
he's the
so.
one that's
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think you'd look at it fair.
And the main thing let me get it correct. The main thing we're looking at is what the policy is for these things moving forward. We're not looking at the specific thing.
Right.
Not at this
We're
time.
looking at the policy
You can do
for
policy for future.
if you're going to put up a.
Right.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Right. Jeff, you have any?
Connie's not here. Let's stick her on there.
Yep.
That's why you saw me scribbling down there, Jeff. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, Mark said he'd handle getting the folks.
I was just kidding.
Getting together. No, you weren't. Well, we're getting the folks together. And if there's nothing else, then we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.